Hi, Damian Mason here with segment number 4 in my 5 thoughts for agriculture post-election 2016. We're going to talk about trade. We've already talked about regulation, we talked about interest rates, and we talked about immigrant labor. Now let's talk about trade. International trade probably sculpted this election more than any other issue, more than calling Hillary crooked, more than talking about the size of one's hands. It was trade. Exit polls from places like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, 4 states that typically turn blue, turned red because those factory workers are not a fan of what's happened. Trump talks tough on trade. He says that NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, was a bad deal signed in by Clinton 20 some odd years ago. He might be right. Mexico has a $2.6 billion trade surplus with the United States. Donald Trump considers himself to be a great business person. He wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. So I anticipate great things to happen on trade agreements. I'm telling you, you needn't worry. Here are my reasons why ag does not need to scream fire and run for the exits about the issue of trade under a Trump presidency. First off, the Trans-Pacific Partnership was going to be dead on arrival anyhow. All the talk in the spring about how it's a slam dunk, by October was done. Even if Hillary had been elected, the TPP, done. Not going to happen. But don't fret, agriculture. Our product will still go somewhere. By mutual necessity, it will happen. We know that Indonesia can't grow corn and produce pork, so they will buy our stuff. We know that the person in Ohio wants kumquats and bananas in February. We can't produce them. By mutual necessity, there will still be trade. Do not worry that somehow we're going to become so isolationist that we won't do this, because America has proven one thing. They still want their rutabagas no matter what time of year it is. Point number 2 about agriculture and trade. We needn't worry because trade wars hurt agriculture, and everyone that's been affected by the Trump administration understands this. There are people with memories. For instance, the grain embargo, the Soviet grain embargo in 1980, where Jimmy Carter decided we're just going to sit on our stuff and punish Russia, didn't happen. In fact, it emboldened and strengthened other countries that then ramped up their production and started selling stuff to the Russians. Hurt us immeasurably. Trade wars hurt. Trust me, it's not going to happen. A guy who wrote a book called The Art of the Deal is not going to be outdealt. Don't worry about it. C, this is the biggie. We've always looked at exports as a silver bullet for agriculture. We think this is the way we're going to just produce a commodity, put it on a barge or a container ship, and send it somewhere around the world. But here's the thing. Especially after the grain embargo of 1980, other countries like Brazil, for instance, 9 different countries named something Stan, India, China, have all learned how to produce their own food. We're not the only game in town when it comes to food production anymore. Ag innovation needs to be more of a focus for agriculture than just producing a commodity and putting it on a barge. You see, now more than ever, affluent countries, Western Europe, Canada, the United States, Australia, we have money to spend. In 1980, during the Soviet grain embargo, there was no tofu turkey. There was no hemp milk. Today, it's become almost mainstream. My point to you, let's boost our margins here on the home front by coming up with innovative products that are not a commodity, where we can add more profit margin to it and still burn through our stuff. So, if you've got a Scottish Highland calf and you want to name it Larry, have it petted by a priest, blessed by a shaman, tell him he's all natural, organic, you can put it on the internet and sell it to a foodie. I'm Damian Mason. Do not sweat the trade issue. I think things are going to be fantastic for agriculture moving forward as it relates to trade. But also, let's keep our eye on what we can do here at home to produce new products that are innovative and charge more for them. Up next, my 5th segment, we're going to talk about flyover country.